Hi, we're here at DjangoCon 2023 in lovely Durham, North Carolina. And with me is the Django Software Foundation president, Chaim Kirby. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jay. Thank you. I'm having a wonderful time on the last day of the conference. Actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's first start with how many DjangoCons does this make for you?
So somebody asked me earlier, and I lost track a little, but it's 7 or 8 or 9 between DjangoCon US and DjangoCon Europe.
Oh, nice, nice. And I'm guessing as like the DSF president, they kind of want you there.
It's useful to show up. Yeah. I wonder sometimes. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I like to be here and really just get the pulse of people around in the hallway track and stuff. The talks are great, and I go to them. But the hallway track is really where you learn things and how people are feeling.
Yeah. Actually, one of the videos that I hope we can do later is with one of the sponsors, the Lincoln Loop, who's been sponsoring since as long as I've known the
100%.
Django community.
And also their CEO, Peter Baumgartner, is our treasurer of the DSF currently.
That makes a lot more sense now. So there you go. I'll make sure to bring that up. But you also spoke at this year's DjangoCon.
I did. Yeah.
How was it? Not just speaking, but speaking in a new location, because DjangoCon's been in San Diego for years. I think there was a general audience that you knew to expect, and at the beginning of the conference, the first thing that they do is like, how many people? This is their first DjangoCon, and like 80% of the room raises their hand.
Right. And then they get to like, and who's 15th? And Andrew Godwin raises his hand.
Yeah.
Right. So San Diego, actually, I only made it to one San Diego between pandemic and timing. I hadn't made it, and so of my DjangoCons in the U.S., it's actually been at about 4 different locations.
Okay.
And I have various background of being on stage and different things. So the piece that struck me the most actually was there was no spotlight on the speaker. Like you're almost speaking in the dark, and there was an interesting there. But yeah, no, I feel honestly often more comfortable on stage than in the one-on-ones, like talking to a huge group. So. Yeah.
I wonder if that ties into like the presidential role.
It may, right? This whole idea of I want to sort of come into a role, which frankly is a little hidden, a little secret. Like it's not necessarily in front of everybody on the day-to-day, but sort of moves things from the background a little. And I'd say that for the entire board as well. Yeah, probably.
So I think there was one of the talks where they talked about maybe why it was so hidden with the presence of the DSF on the DjangoProject.org website, but also you gave the DSF a grading.
Yes, I graded our various aspects of our mission statement. Yeah.
So I think the lowest one of those was kind of centered around communication. So since we're on a YouTube channel here, what are some of the things that you would like to communicate maybe a little bit better in the future?
Oh, absolutely. So I think, and it's not even a question. So yes, it was on our promotion. One of the aspects of our mission is to promote Django to the world. And I think I commented during it that there are a lot of people in the community and groups in the community that do promote, yourself included. And the DSF does effectively none of it. We've batted around various ideas, and these ideas always come down to time, effort, and people. Yeah. But for instance, we post to the website when a new version of Django comes out, and that gets replicated to Reddit and to Twitter, but there is no one paragraph press release. They can go to like technical blogs and things. For instance, very lightweight, but it still takes somebody to do it. We've talked about it with our whole new working group model, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. One of the early ones that we hope for, and the community needs to embrace and sort of step up, is sort of a media promotional communications type working group that can do sort of those outreach advocacy promotional things.
Yeah, I definitely think that the working group model is really interesting because it not only gives those individuals who are actively communicating about Django and like all the things that happen around it, it also creates avenues for people with like really good and like specific skill sets in that area maybe to tie in. So I mean, yeah, if you're watching this and you're good with X and LinkedIn and Mastodon and all the other formats, and you want to help share some of the news that Django is coming on, how can people learn more?
So right now we haven't really formalized a working group communication model, but so foundation at DjangoProject.com is the easiest one. That goes to the board basically, and it's going to take time. We're hoping to get inundated, frankly, with people, and some people have already started reaching out. So it'll take a little time to work through it, especially since elections are also sort of happening in the near future. But it's been something that I think a lot of the board over the last few years has been interested in moving into this process in between the pandemic and how much time people even have, not during the pandemic, of just on the board to put in the effort even to make the change, but also to really evaluate and understand if the change is warranted. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and sometimes I question whether I'm in a bubble, right? Where I am as president of the DSF and coming to DjangoCon, it's a self-selecting group of people who want to be here.
Right.
And there's always a question of, are we moving the needle in the direction the community wants and needs, or do we think it's necessary and so we're building these things? And that's one reason why hopefully the working groups, actually somebody asked me in my talk, what are the next working groups? And I said, well, we have some ideas. But really, we could throw out all these ideas. If nobody steps up, it's pointless. So hopefully, it's more a community. The working group model is for us to put in place a thing where community members can step up, and we have a framework for them to step up and present ideas and really run with them.
I also love that it gives an opportunity for folks who may not be DSF members currently to participate in a way that qualifies them for DSF membership. So do you foresee a large growth of membership with maybe through the help of these models and maybe some of the other things that you've got planned?
Yeah, so that is my deepest hope, honestly. And I think traditionally, on sort of both aspects, how you contribute and how you become a member has always been thought about code, or maybe to a slightly lesser extent, documentation, right? And while not everybody in the Django community writes code, first of all.
Right.
But second off, even if they do, they maybe don't feel comfortable or don't want to or don't have the time to contribute code back, but have other skills, like you said. And the membership model also was earlier predicated on that. So additionally, we made some modifications to our bylaws, which were outdated even to how we were treating membership currently, but really to recognize the fact that the DSF has a mission, and so membership should be predicated on contributing towards that mission, regardless of whether it's code or other. So I hope both expanding how we can do membership will bring in more people who sort of already qualify under that rubric, but also give people to say, I want to give back, and membership, maybe just giving back is insufficient. I hope not, but potentially that. But membership, as sort of token as it potentially is something that they can get back.
Right. Okay, so last question. We're here for the first year in Raleigh. How was your experience with the city?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, I drove down. I'm in Maryland, so I drove down. It was a 4.5-hour drive, and I ran into somebody. We were taking a walk and ran into somebody who, where was it? At one of the Durham Art Museum, I think it was.
Okay.
The Durham History Museum. I'm sorry. And got into talking, and they were like, telling us about Durham. My wife came with me, and how Durham is this sort of revitalizing liberal enclave in North Carolina. And I know there were some questions about North Carolina after this was picked, and I think it's been lovely. It's been welcoming. The space has been very welcoming. There's enough to do outside. That's also the question. Do you want to go to somewhere where there's so much to do that people actually skip out on the conference? No, but you also want something to do at night. And I think it's perfect for it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I don't think we've announced where we're going to be next year, but I think there is a question of if we're coming back, and if we do, then hopefully I look forward to seeing you again there. I'm sure you'll be there, right?
So I can say formally I won't be here.
Okay.
But the reasons are, and I guess I will use this to formally announce it to the Django community.
Okay.
I have 4 children. Next summer, my wife and I are taking our 4 kids out of school for a year, and we're going to travel the world with them.
Wow.
So one of my goals during that trip, and I have to run for the board again next November, so we'll see if I'm elected again, but one of my goals for that trip, for myself, is to visit and meet in with sort of every, Django One Day, Django Meetup, Django Group, Django Social, wherever they are.
Oh, wow.
And sort of, like I said, meeting people in the hallway and talking to them, meeting people where they are and talking to them and getting feedback and understanding. So if you have a local meetup, start sending me the information about it. And I'll say for now, just Chaim Kirby at djangoproject.com, and I'll start taking down notes of where and when and schedules and see if I can't stop by your meetup.
Sign up for the DSF World Tour. I love it. That's so great. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking time with me.
Thank you, Jay.
Absolutely. I'm Jay Miller, and we're here in Durham, North Carolina at DjangoCon 2023. And hopefully we'll see you at DjangoCon 2024. Take care.